All right. Good morning, everybody. All Move, Think, Smile followers and everybody in the Elite Performance Group. Adam Von Inns and Elia Fasharan, co-founders of Move, Think, Smile, coming at you live. And we want to come in and do an impromptu thing this morning because a lot of people are running around. Well, they're kind of scared, and I think there's good reason. There's been a lot of chatter in the media about health, sickness, viruses, and things like that. And we're getting a lot of questions. A lot of people are asking us, hey, Adam, hey, Elia, how can we really keep our energy high? How can we make sure that we're strong to not become one of those statistics that are flying around out there? And they're asking us questions like, what supplements should I be taking? What herbs should I put in my diet? What food should I avoid? What food should I eat? What can I do to really make sure my immune system is strong? And I think the most important thing to ask is your immune system really running on fumes? Is your immune system even really on to begin with? And I think it's really important to note here, Ellie, is, what happens to our bodies when we are living in what we say the paras or the sympathetic nervous system, right? This is when we're feeling stress.
Yeah.
When we're feeling the effect of stress, we have chemicals like cortisol, epinephrine, they get released into the system. And what happens there?
Yeah. So really, all of this chemical cascade that we have in our body that really comes along with stress and stressful thinking and worry and doomsday kind of thing is that, we're really just cascading the body with tons of chemicals that start wearing us down. Right. And it starts wearing down the immune system. And so again, what's just so key is that there are a couple things we're going to look at today, but to really look at how can you support yourself with your thinking that's going to really help boost your immune system. Because, Adam, as you often say, we can't just, if our immune system is running really low, we can't just stuff ourselves full of supplements and expect a change.
Yeah, I think what people don't realize here is like so many people are like, okay, how much more elderberry do I need to take? How much more echinacea? Do I need to add, dandelion root in there? And it's like, here's what you need to understand is that if your brain is worried, and there's two states of worry. There's the conscious and there's the subconscious. The conscious worry is like, you're worried. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm frustrated. Yeah. I'm not happy at work. I've got a little bit of anger in there. There's some resentment. There's some shame. There's some guilt. All of these things trigger and turn on the stress response. Mm-hmm. And when the stress response gets turned on, your brain is telling your body you're in a threatening environment, even though you're not. And when this happens, a couple things get deregulated and upregulated in the body. And two of the things that get deregulated is energy is taken away from the immune system. It is suppressed. It is weakened. Yep. And then for some people, it actually gets shut down to such a low level that they can really, really get ill very easily. And then the other thing that happens is their digestive system gets compromised as well. And it's not like something's coming in there, but it's just not operating its full potential because the body's feeling like you're in a stressful environment. So it's diverting that energy to other areas that you need, right? Like your lungs, your heart to pump the blood flow to the muscles, the adrenaline going. So you can run away from that threatening environment. Like a tiger jumps out of the woods and wants to chase you down. Yeah. But there isn't a tiger. And there's nothing really chasing you down other than the stress from your career. And when you're a business owner, a leader, an executive, and you're responsible for people, you're responsible for finances, you're responsible for all this stuff, those worries, right? The stuff that keeps you up at night, literally you're telling your body to shut down the digestive and the immune system. So are you running on fumes? Because it does not matter how much supplement you take. It's going to be really hard supporting your immune system if one, your digestive system isn't really on track and it's only absorbing a little bit of the nutrients. So I cannot tell you the number of people I watch day by day by day take all these supplements, spend $100 a month on things, and they're still struggling with their energy. And that's because they're living in basically a stressful environment. Every day they're living as an emergency. So even though they're getting all these great nutrients, their body isn't necessarily absorbing them the way they should be. Plus, another rabbit hole we could go down is a whole microbiome system and the gut bacteria and all that kind of stuff that creates serotonin and all these other things and supports the immune system. So it becomes a cyclical process. And it's not something that just happens fast. It's kind of like over time. So if you spend months or days or years or weeks or, even decades sometimes, like in my case, where we spent, 15 years basically living in this like low level stress state the entire time with these businesses that we were running. Sometimes they were super high levels, and we just got sick. Like
Yeah.
we got sick a lot, and we didn't know why, because we considered ourselves to be really healthy people. And now that we've learned to change that, and we work with our clients and doing the same thing, the number one thing that you can do, Elia, is to get your body out of this sympathetic nervous system, which is the stress response. Get yourself out of that anxiety, get yourself out of that overwhelm, get yourself out of that despair, the depression, the anger, the pissed off, whatever it is, right? And get yourself into the parasympathetic nervous system. I'm not talking about just for 5 minutes of doing a meditative breathing exercise. I'm talking about you got to live most of the day there, especially with all the news going around about potentially very harmful agents flying around, stuff that's going on.
Yeah, and even quite a few of our clients too are feeling not just the weight of this for them, but the weight of this for their teams. With people either not coming into work or trying to separate themselves. And so I think what's also really important is now more than ever, people have to really stay resourceful and stay in a space of thinking that really allows them to say, hey, we know what we can do. What if we find a way? What if this happens? What if this goes right? Really tapping into that strongest part of themselves. A lot of us typically can tend to, when we get really stressed, we're stuck in that fight or flight. And so fear is just overtaking everything, and we're just listening to all the worst case scenarios, and that just really, really gives our immune system bad fuel, right? It's like putting really dirty gas in the car. And so what's really important is to look at, how are you approaching this kind of stress? What is your thinking around it? And for most people, we're not questioning what we think. We're just, a thought crosses our mind and we just take it as truth, as reality, and then we just react to it, and then it's just a massive cascade. So what we're really talking about here is really supporting yourself on all these different levels, right? And it's not just that one thing that you're going to do.
Yeah, I think people, they forget that, our bodies are these amazing biocomputers, and it's not just one thing. Like everything is interlinked together. We have the ability, our eyes automatically dilate depending on the light that's outside. Our heart beats automatically, we breathe. We have all these things that go on, and it's constantly trying to adjust. But when you're living in a stressful state, right? Or a state of burnout, or whatever you want to call it, but it's not where you want to be. It's anything but happiness and joy and really enjoying life. This interconnected network it actually can work against us, when the stress basically decreases the amount of lymphocytes, and those are your white blood cells. And this happens. This is a no joke thing that happens. So the number one thing you can do to keep yourself strong in the light of the flu, or any other viruses or bacteria that are out there, is to really make sure your immune system is fully on and operating at 100%. And to do that, you've got to get out of those states, that state of anxiety, that state of overwhelm, that state of, or for some people it's self-worth. I'm not good enough, right? It's the confidence that they're lacking. It's the certainty that they don't have. It's the action that they're not taking. And that right there decreases your immune response. And so when your immune response is decreased, you're literally running on fumes. And do you think you're going to be able to make it the long haul when presented with possible health complications?
Yeah.
It's going to be very challenging. It's going to be very challenging.
And this reminds me of a live we did. We should link in here, where we really talk about how to change your state, right? And how to change the story. And, again, I think, again, recently we're talking a little bit about current events here, but just that, we let our minds go down the worst case scenario, and we think that's the way to protect ourselves, when in fact, yes, we want to look at some of the raw data and maybe some of the worst case scenario, but we don't want to get stuck there. And most people just get stuck there, and then they can't see any other option but the worst case scenario. Right. And now more than ever is the time when, no matter what you're dealing with, whether it's, sickness or just, someone at work that's stressing you out, or your business is stressing you out, you've got to get back into that space of resourcefulness. You don't have to necessarily like what's going on. You don't have to be a total Pollyanna and that everything's positive and everything's going to work out, but you have to stay in a space of resourcefulness that you can figure this out. You've always found a way. You always will find a way. We as humans have always found a way, right? And really believing in that. And again, a lot of times we're just stuck in this thing of, oh my gosh, the worst case scenario. So now I need to prep for the worst case scenario. And now you just believe you're living in the worst case scenario. And that's really tough on your whole system.
Yeah, that it shuts down things. And what ends up happening is when we call it living every day as an emergency. And it doesn't have to be necessarily an emergency, but when you're living every day, every time you go upstairs and you open up your teenager's room and you get like, oh, I can't believe how messy it is. Or you have this pattern, these rituals that you're designing into your life to where you're invoking the stress response on a daily basis. Pretty soon you're telling your body that you're in a threatening environment when you really aren't. And when your body feels like that for consistently over a period of time, and sometimes it only takes 5, 7, 8, 10 days, the body gets locked into this low grade stress response mode and your immune system tanks.
Yeah,
it does. And so the best thing you can do to make sure that your body is strong, not only so you're performing well in your career and you're igniting your business or whatever it is with energy, but to make sure that your health is on track, is to make sure that your immune system is fully charged. To make sure that you're not living every day in that stress response, to reverse those messages of threat, and to be able to actually pursue the day in a calm, collective manner without freaking about paying the mortgage, without freaking about, if John or Bob and Susie and my team's going to show up and if they're going to do the project that I gave them, without, trying to manage everything. It's really important that you understand that it does not matter what supplements you take. It does not matter how much elderberry echinacea you stuff down your throat, that if your immune system is running on fumes because you've turned it off, or you're telling it to turn off because you're diverting energy to other places, that it's going to be compromised. And it's going to be really hard living, a very, very kind of like energetic and warding off, things when you get them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think, we're going to kind of wrap it up here, guys, because we don't have a lot of time, but we did want to just jump in here today and, talk about this subject a little bit. So, for those of you that watch this, later, make a comment down below if you have a question about some of the stuff that, we're talking about here with the immune system. And we're also going to link a few other lives that we've done, like I said, about changing your state, which is really important, right? You got to pattern interrupt when you start going into those modes of, I'm never going to get it all done, or, what if I expose myself to X, Y, Z, and all these kinds of things. We want to teach you how to stay in an extremely resourceful place, because that's what we need when we are faced with obstacles, right? We don't need to be shutting down.
Right. Remember, if you want to be healthy, if you want to be as strong as you can be, if you want the elderberry, the supplements, the immune supporting, the dandelion root, those things that actually work for you, you've got to make sure your digestive tract is on. You've got to make sure your immune system is on. And the only way to do that is to reverse the messages of threat that are coming from living in a stressful environment by not being happy, being frustrated, not having the confidence, not taking the action. If you want to fuel a career, if you want to inject health, energy, and performance into a demanding career, or health, energy, and freedom into a high performing career, however you want to say it, and you're having trouble doing that, then come over to movethinksmile.com/talk, book a call. You'll speak with Ellie or I. We can kind of chat about where you're at, where your health has been taking a beating because of years of just basically neglecting self-care. And then we can, take it from there, see if there's something that we might be able to help you with. If so, we can talk about that. If not, there's no problem there too. But guys, if you're concerned about your immune system, the best thing you can do is to get your brain, get your body out of this kind of like low grade chronic stress, right?
Yes.
Happens over and over again on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis. It leads to all kinds of poor lifestyle choices, poor nutrition choices. And basically it's just telling your body, I'm in a threatening environment. So let's knock that out. It can be changed really fast. And I'm talking about weeks. I'm not talking about like overnight, right? This is not a magic pill. Move, Think, Smile is a very, very powerful thing. It's a very simple process. And we're here to help you become as strong and as healthy and ignite and fuel your business, fuel your career as much as possible without those obstacles out there that people are chatting about in the media taking you down. So come on over to movethinksmile.com/talk. And until next time, We'll see you guys.
Bye.